And we are back with our breaking news. The now captured fugitive David Sweat, he's talking, and what he is telling police is this. In a word, it's shocking. The convicted murderer saying that as most of the prison slept, and especially those guards on that honor block where he was living, he and his fellow inmate Richard Matt were able to pull off this practice run the night before they tunneled out of Clinton Correctional Center for good. This comes here now as we're learning that 12 people, including top brass here, 3 executives, have just been suspended as they are now taking a good deep dive into what was going on at this facility. So let's talk about this with someone who knows what life was like on the inside. Michael Alig served 17 years for manslaughter, and some of that time was spent at Clinton Correctional Facility. He was just released last year, just getting used to life, as you were telling me, commercial break on the outside. Yeah. So thank you so much for coming by.
Oh, thank you.
We were in commercial, you were saying to me, well, do we even know how far they got on their dry run? You were saying they must have precisely synchronized their watches to meet at the exact time to get out of their cells to head out.
I mean, it's not so surprising that all they have to do is plot and scheme. You know, it's their days are spent brainstorming ideas and how to get out, and
the fact that perhaps they were doing this with full knowledge, having spent a lot of time there, that these guards around this honor block, which you're thinking was upstairs from you, were sleeping.
That also would not surprise me, especially in honors block. I mean, that you have to give them a little bit of leeway. I mean, it's been 130 years and this has never happened, and the inmates are all safely locked away in their cells, and it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and they're working the late shift, but they're probably not on the late shift time. They're that's probably their sleeping time. And they may have even worked a double shift that day, and so that would literally be their sleeping time. So it's not like people are running around outside of their cell. I mean, there were this time, but it doesn't happen very often.
It doesn't happen.
No.
How friendly were you all with the corrections officers?
That kind of shocked me when I first got there, how friendly everybody was, playing cards and on first name basis and things like that, knowing about their kids and their pets, and burying their cats and dogs and making portraits of children and things like that.
But the fact that apparently, and again, this one guard who was in custody, who was in court yesterday in Plattsburgh, was saying, no, I had no idea that I was bringing in hamburger meat full of hacksaws. He's saying he had no idea, but at the same time, I'm hearing other reporting that there were other guards at this facility who had cabins in the woods where they were ultimately found, showing pictures of their summer places. So they were fully aware of what was on the outside.
Yeah, I mean, what he's saying, he knew that he was bringing in the hamburgers, but he didn't know he was
no idea, this corrections officer, right?
Yeah, right. He had no idea what?
That he was bringing in weapons ultimately to help these 2 guys escape.
Well, I suppose it has the plausibility, I mean, that he brought in a big slab of meat and didn't know that it had a shank in it or something. I mean, I guess...
You were saying people were bringing in Omaha steaks to you guys?
Yeah, well, officers were.
Officers were. What did you see come and go that you can now talk
mostly
about?
Mostly cooking utensils, like frying pans and skillets and electric skillets and coffee pots, coffee makers and things like that.
What about drugs? Because now this place is being looked very closely into. That's a given.
Yeah, I mean,
heroin,
cocaine, ecstasy, marijuana.
All of it. Who brings it in?
I know you want me to say the officers.
No, I don't want you to say anything. Tell me the truth. The officers, the doctors, the nurses?
There have been occasions when officers were caught bringing these things in, and they usually have some kind of deal made with the inmates where they'll get rid of. But now the big seller in the Department of Corrections is tobacco, because tobacco products are illegal now.
That's the top of the hierarchy of things to get to procure.
Right, because it's the cheapest thing you can get. If you're caught with it, it's not against the law, so you're not really breaking any laws, and the profit margin is like 10,000%.
It's the drugs that they're now investigating, though, at this facility. Specifically, they were mentioning heroin. And so I'm wondering if I'm, this corrections officer, and clearly my 2 biggest fears are someone wanting to escape or someone wanting to riot. And so I could see perhaps how someone would want to befriend,
right, that's
make
exactly
nice.
Why they do it, right. Because they have to walk around the yard, and the ratio is something like 1 to 100 of guards to inmates. So they're outrageously outnumbered. If there was ever a riot, they would be killed probably. So yes, they want to make friends with the inmates. They want to play cards with them. They want them to tell the inmates to give them information. They want people to snitch on each other. And
speaking of snitching, are you surprised that David Sweat is talking as much as he is? Do you believe a word of what he's saying?
You know, I don't know exactly what he has to lose right now. I don't know what his sentence was.
He's saying, hey, this is my getaway car. Yeah, the seamstress was going to take us. We were headed to Mexico.
I mean, what are his ulterior motives? I mean, does he have any? Is he going to get out of anything?
Would you be talking?
I mean, it depends. If I had, 1 year to go, I might, but I don't think he does. I mean, if he did, why would he escape?
He's away forever.
Oh, well then, yeah. Then, I mean, he has no then yes, I would believe him. Because he's not going to get anything out of it. He may not go to solitary confinement or something like that.
Right, that's precisely right. That's precisely right. Michael Alig, thank you. I really appreciate it. Coming up at the top of the show.